We got the volume. I got the volume fixed. All right, everybody. I didn't really say much other than welcome to the stream. I'm going to check the comments here in a minute. Welcome to the stream. So what we're doing, we're going to go over some First Amendment rights. We're going to get, I got it. Everything, I had it muted down here and I didn't realize it. So thank you, everybody. I got it. We are here. Welcome in. So I'm going to have some special guests on that are scholars, because if you guys go out, you want to know your rights at least, because a lot of people, you don't want to walk around your country scared, fearing, oh, can I do this, can I not? But we have a couple things before, so everybody share out the stream, come on in. I'm going to pass out, and pretty much anyone wants to come in and just have 1 minute on the floor about their First Amendment rights, what it means to them. But really, it's about, obviously, as long as you're not, making threats. And I'm not going to speak out of term. We got it all here on the show today. As far as towards other people, we'll go over that. But really, my channel is about bridging unity, bringing people together. I don't like to see, people, attacking each other. And so what we're going to do is just understand that everybody, it's just has the right to what they want to say. They react. And that's what makes America great. So come on in here. I'm going to get started. I got to pull this video up. I was on my phone. Now I got to pull it up on the computer. So that's how I research. I look on the phone, I mark them. And then when I get to the office here, studio, I pull it up. So give me 1 minute. We got a couple songs. Say hello in the chat. Let us know where you're signing in from. Like and subscribe. But welcome in, everybody. If you do have any expertise in the First Amendment, like the Vigilance Committee, if he hears this, hopefully he'll come on the show today. If you're able to join as a member, we got 2 members already that joined. Thank you, Mimi of 3, and thank you, Kathleen, starting it off with the free, the freedom of press with the American flags, 857 Justice. Kathleen, thank you. And another new member, Mary. If you want to join the membership, that helps keep growing the channel. So here we go. And thank you, anyone who shares out the stream on the X, Facebook. If you want to share it out on Facebook, that's always nice. So thank you, anyone. Welcome in. We're going to get started. I got a couple little intro videos to play, and then we will get started. So this is a good song I found. Freedom Ain't Free. We're going to get started here. This is Tom McDonald. Freedom Ain't Free. And then I'm going to go check the chat right now. So welcome in, everybody. And any of the YouTubers that want to come in and talk about, this kind of stuff that we're learning today, obviously, come on in. I'm going to put the link here in a little bit. So, because obviously this is the little side thing is, people want to report there might be another case happening, and we want to know what our rights are. If we can we stand on the side of the road, the public road, and not, here, so we should be able to, I think. So let's go. This is a little intro. I'll be right back once I get these videos pulled up.
It's a time to remember the ones who we lost. The fathers and sons, the mothers and daughters who went overseas and fought so we could be free. Believe it or not, they dying for peace, they dying for speech. They died in the streets of the Middle East. They left the family at home and picked up a gun and stormed the beach. I see a problem. We've forgotten the fallen. Nobody works on Mondays, so we celebrate and pop bottles while there's soldiers in the dirt and they all got families who are hurting. The cost of freedom is a person. They died so we ain't speaking German. So eat your burgers and drink your beers. Relax, enjoy your day. There were funerals and a million tears so we could live our lives this way. There were widowed wives and the children's eyes who won't see their dads again. It's a holiday for the fallen. Don't say Happy Memorial Day. Cause the freedom ain't free, things got a cost. They paid for today with the lives we lost. So don't comply Stand your ground. They sacrificed it all, and we gotta make them proud, 'cause the freedom ain't free.
What's up, guys? The 4th annual Hangover Gang Memorial Day blowout and fundraiser is going down right now at hangovergang.com. We got autographed flags, autographed bandanas, autographed photos, tons of new gear. Everything on the entire website is 20% off. Use the code Memorial HOG for 20% off everything. And we've also got a couple special Memorial Day designs for charity. Every single penny from the charity shirts will be donated to U.S. veterans. Over the past 3 years, Hangover Gang has donated over $350,000 to veterans.
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. What do you guys think? I am standing up. You can't cancel us. They're trying to do that, and you guys see we're not going to stand down. We're not going to go, oh, you know what? You guys could just violate our rights, and then we have no say, and we're getting harassed. People making hit piece videos so they can profit off of us. And all we're doing is keeping a kidnapped 84-year-old names in the news. We're not bothering anybody. These people are actually approaching us. They want interviews from us. We're not asking them for anything. They're walking by us. Thank you, everybody. Hopefully you like that intro. Holy wow, thank you for the super. Bobby Daniels, thank you. So we are just getting started right now. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into a little refresher. That's what I'm having to do. Hey, why? Obviously, everybody knows their citizen rights. Thank you, everybody. Let me check the comments. Thank you so much. Great song, Kathleen says. Love the song. And, you know, I had my sign ready. Maybe we can do like a mutual song, and you guys send in a video and we'll mash it up, and maybe we can get Tom on there and say, you know what, maybe Tom, hey, everybody tag Tom. Tom, what's up? I love Tom. He's an independent. That's the thing. He's independent. Nobody's behind Tom. Tom didn't sign no contract, just like none of us. Can't cancel all of us. Now it's on my head, but you know what? That song is, I love that. That's a great song. So, hey, give a shout out to Tom. Tag Tom McDonald. We support him. Obviously, you know, everybody has their choice of music. So we're just, you know, I'm just sharing my opinion. I like his songs. So thank you guys. We're going to get this first thing started. And everybody, I'm going to put the link so you guys can follow this guy, because obviously I only know what I know, right? And thank you, Strawberry. Thank you. I was joining along with the signs just like them. We could even make one and send it in. Send it in to Tom, put it on YouTube and tag Tom. Let's make it. Let's make one. But you know, you can't cancel all of us, and then YouTubers can't cancel YouTubers, something like that. But it could be fun. You guys, the community, if you guys have any ideas, just create it. Like, that's the whole thing I always tell people. You got to stay creative, right? You got to stay creative. It helps your brain as we get older. So stay creative, whatever it is. Thank you, Miss Blue Rose. Everybody coming in. We're gonna get started. It's kind of I hope to have some people on later. This is a good refresher. This is by Jake the Lawyer. 73,000 subscribers. Here's the link to his channel and this video if you want to save it for later. We're trying to help everybody expand their reach with different people. So here we go. Jake the lawyer, we're gonna get. He's gonna explain the first 10 amendments. First 10. Domsey, thank you. Wow. Wow. I gotta check whoever got those gifts. Let me check. Gifted memberships, Domsey, thank you. Hopefully you're back home. Hopefully you're back home, Domsey, and everybody coming in. Hopefully you're having a good day. Let's see who got those memberships from Domsey. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, someone got a membership. Irene got one. Nice. We can't be silenced. Thank you. That is so awesome. I love when that happens. Obviously, I really appreciate the support in the channel. I made some calls, and unless we just pick a lawyer that, hey, we could find one, but some of these big ones, they're so busy that who knows if they even take the case. A lot of them are so overly booked. Whew. Okay, so we're gonna get started. Go back to the start. We got this guy. We're gonna do a kind of a refresher just to get focused. As Chris McDonald actually was in McDonough was in the stream last night. I had a live reaction to his. Chris McDonough was in our stream last night. I mean, I was starstruck. He came in and he said, here's the one thing he said, stay the course. So keep our eye on the ball, stay the course, kind of how we're going to keep focused, but we need to know our rights. So when we go out there, a lot of people, we think we do. Well, I knew my rights going out there that day, but there's other things we're just going to learn. Go back to the basics, fundamentals of what maybe a lot of people take for granted. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to let this play and then I'll stop it. I'll be back. Check the chat. I want to chat with everybody in the chat. So here we go. This is Jake the lawyer.
Jake the lawyer, and welcome back to Internet Esquire. Now, before I begin, if you'd like a deep dive into the fascinating 800-year history of how we came to get our Bill of Rights, you can click the link in the description below. I did a full half-hour breakdown on that video, which was just supposed to be the intro to this video, but, it ended up being 2 videos, and here we are. Okay.
All right, for anyone just getting in, we're going to start. This is Jake the lawyer. I'm going to let this play. He's going to introduce. We're going to go over the first 10 amendments. Just to get kind of, a lot of people forget this. It's simple stuff that we think we know, but here we go.
With that context aside, here's how this whole thing works. You have the Constitution and you have the Bill of Rights. Slap them together. The Constitution is the framework for government power. It is the template upon which we build the actual system of federal government. And the Bill of Rights is the first 10 amendments of that Constitution, which serve as a constitutional safeguard to protect individual liberties and natural rights. Said another way, the Constitution is the mechanism for how the federal government works, and the Bill of Rights is the safeguard protecting individual liberties as it goes to work. Now, of course, through the 14th Amendment, the Bill of Rights has been modernly interpreted as applying to the states, but let's just leave the 14th Amendment comments out of this video, please. I can hear them being typed already. Oh, now there's even more because I brought it up. Look, that's a mind-boggling history that I'm going to save for an entirely different video, so let's just put that over there for now. All right, moving on. Together, the Constitution and the Bill of Rights create a governmental power structure that is limited by default. The Constitution is a system of negative powers, restricting federal government authority to only the powers that are enumerated in the text of the Constitution. And the Bill of Rights is a set of negative rights, which restrict government interference from restricting your God-given rights. This is the...
There we go. There's the first thing. There is the first thing. So you guys, what I want you to do is, there's a lot of people that like to write down notes. Just write down a couple notes if you want to come in and talk. but we are just doing a going over this again. This is Jake the Lawyer. Here's the link.
Opposite of what we would say positive rights are, because the Constitution and the Bill of Rights is not saying that the government must allow freedom of speech. It is saying that freedom of speech exists and you, government, cannot touch it. So if you take anything away from this video at all, just one thing, let it be this. The Bill of Rights does not grant you liberty. Your liberties already belong to you. Therefore, the job of the Bill of Rights is to simply state, for the record, the things that are the most sacred individual liberties that the government cannot touch. Now, of course, there are useful exceptions to individual liberties, so try not to go absolute full Florida man all the time.
Hey, man, y'all got beer still? Y'all got beer still?
Might get you in trouble. Here is what the Bill of Rights says, the actual language of all 10 amendments in simple terms, explained by a lawyer.
Here we go. Let's go.
First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. English, please. I mean, modern English. There are 5 rights in the First Amendment. Did you catch them all? Religion, speech, press, assembly, and petition. And what do those mean? Religion. The first 2 clauses of the First Amendment are known as the Establishment Clause and the Free Exercise Clause. The Establishment Clause means that the government cannot create an official state church or a state religion of any kind. And the Free Exercise Clause means that the government cannot tell you to attend a church or a religion of any kind, and you have the choice to practice your religion as you see fit. Together, these are known as the freedom of religion, not the freedom from religion, the freedom of religious choice. Unfortunately, freedom of religion today is often misunderstood as the separation of church and state. They are not the same thing, though they are very closely tied to one another. The separation of church and state is merely the mechanism by which we ensure religious freedom in this country, but it itself is not a right. People often confuse the separation of church and state as being a right in the First Amendment, but in fact, this is simply the legal doctrine that protects religious freedom, meaning that just because there is a separation of church and state does not mean there is a banishment of all forms of God in public life. Again, it means freedom of religion, not freedom from religion. Of course, there are exceptions to the freedom of religion. For example, if your sincerely held religious beliefs mean that you are also going to be a reckless endangerment to public health or an intentional endangerment to others, obviously there's going to be restrictions on what you're doing over there as you're practicing whatever the heck it is you're doing over there. Now, an interesting point. It's not by coincidence that the freedom of religion is the very first thing in the very First Amendment. This is one of the hallmarks of a free society, freedom of thought. And freedom of thought necessarily requires freedom of speech. Be careful of your thoughts. They lead to your words.
Uh-oh. And that's a big thing. People are reacting, obviously, to different things that they read or hear.
That is why you must be mindful of them. Yes, thank you, Confucius. The next rights listed in the First Amendment are the freedom of speech and the freedom of the press. We cannot find the best ideas and the best ways forward if we cannot talk with our government openly. And that means even if somebody's ideas are hateful or racist or ignorant or just downright rude, disrespectful, and dumb, the government has no authority to create laws which just restrict that type of speech. Now, time and again, people get confused about the freedom of speech. Oftentimes, most pertinent example, they say something hurtful, toxic, or hateful online, and then their private employer fires them for the thing that they said. And they stand up and they go,
"But that's my freedom of speech. You can't tell me not to say that."
True, fair enough, but that doesn't mean when you work for this guy who's a private citizen or there's a private company over here that is just doing whatever it is they do. It just means that the government can't pass laws arbitrarily restricting free speech. Did you know that forms of dress and flashing your headlights at the next driver down the road to warn them about a speed trap up ahead are also considered forms of free speech? Yes, you can't be arrested or prevented from doing those things, but like I said before, there are limitations. Indecent exposure in public is not a form of free speech in what you choose to wear. Don't try it.
We're good, streaky! Yes!
Causing roadway hazards to inform other drivers that there are police up ahead is also not a protected form of free speech. Anything that would be likely to impose an immediate threat to public safety, like reckless endangerment, vandalism, or inciting violence, is not going to be a protected form of free speech. And by inciting violence, I don't mean this. I mean more like this. Actual physical violence and property destruction is not.
Now, if you lived in America, I think you saw what happened with actual violence and property destruction to a lot of our cities, right? A lot of those people, are they chasing them down? Are they doing community problems unit to still find these people? Or did they just let them get away with it and our cities burned, vandalized?
Not a protected form of free speech. Hand in hand, alongside freedom of speech, we also have freedom of the press, allowing mass communication of ideas. The main limitations on freedom of speech are things like libel, which is a form of written defamation where you knowingly print false information about a person and it causes them direct harm to their reputation, obscenity, language that is clearly offensive, typically of a sexual nature, and against contemporary community norms and standards, or incitement, public speech that is likely to cause imminent lawlessness. These are all going to be generally restricted. And also remember, freedom of the press does not give the press the right to break other laws in the pursuit of a story. They cannot commit trespass or burglary or break privacy laws because they're doing it for the story. That's not allowed. The freedom of assembly and the right to petition the government for the redress of grievances are the final rights listed in the First Amendment, and they are specifically there to protect public action. The freedom of assembly says that people can gather together peaceably in a public place without being prohibited from doing so by the government. Most commonly, we think of this as protests, but it has also been interpreted more generally as the freedom of assembly, which means that the government cannot tell people things like who they can be friends with, who they can get married to, and what business partners they can choose.
Welcome in, everybody. Just getting started. Thank you again to Bobby, Domsey, everybody coming a member, and Kathleen. Thank you for the supers. Now, here we go. What I want to show you real quick is the Catalina foothills. No, here we go. We're going to go back to that video. Here it is. Background. This was on February 21st. Backgrounding conditions. Okay, listen. More restricted parking rules for Nancy Guthrie neighborhood. This is the actual ordinance. It's on Pima County's website. This chose into change February 26th. So it says right here, we created a no parking zone on several streets in Catalina Foothills Estate neighborhood surrounding Nancy Guthrie's residence as further measure to protect public safety and relieve area residents from chaotic conditions caused by a large media and social media streamer presence. The change goes into effect February 26th. And then here's the current conditions. It goes on to saying dozens of media. This was on February 26th. Dozens of media and streamers. That was on the first week. Obviously, it got worse. Satellite trucks, severe congestion. On the 21st, they did a one-way road. So they go, oh, we're gonna do this. This is the new thing. It was fine for us, but I guess the neighbors continued to complain. So the Pima County essentially put together a system on February 21st. Okay. So the Pima County, they said, look, we're going to listen to the neighborhood. We're going to put this ordinance on the 21st. And then here you go. The neighbors weren't happy enough. So guess what? The neighbors continued to complain. And guess what happened? The government went ahead and changed it and said, now we're taking the one way down and then they went to this temporary no parking. Oh, just no parking. Okay, well, that cleared everybody out. This was on February 26th. March, everybody's gone. There's nobody there. There's no one parking there. April, there's no congestion. Remember, they did it because of the severe congestion. No parking surrounding to protect and relieve areas from chaotic conditions caused by. There's no large media and social streamer presence anymore, or there wasn't. They all left. But why is this parking thing still open? And then this is what I wanted to stop, because they're saying this is it right here. Media. Well, this is what I read before I went in. Media. This is on the Pima County website. Media will still be able to access the neighborhood. So the government has given me permission to access our public road and stand and report from the public right away. Media will, this is from Sheriff Nanos's superiors, the supervisors. But this is exactly what I did as well. Media and streamers will have to access from a legal parking outside the zone, which is what I did. I got dropped off, and I actually used a ride sharing services like their suggestion. Back to the video, but this is what we're going over. And then we're going to go over, hopefully get some people that want to come talk. Maybe if you've had an experience where you feel like your First Amendment rights, if you're a scholar, we're going to bring up Lane Myers. He had a video yesterday I saw. He was on the phone, and it was good because this guy made a video of him. So I just want to react to it. And he called the guy on the phone. Shout out Lane Myers.
And the right of petition simply says that the government cannot punish you for going to them with a problem. Now, of course, just like the other rights, there are many exceptions to the freedom of assembly and the right of petition. Things like time, place, and manner restrictions may be placed on the freedom of assembly. For example, this would be things like requiring a permit for a large protest, demonstration, or parade that requires that that thing be done in a particular time, place, and manner. Noise ordinances, limitations on solicitation, and restrictions on blocking public thoroughfares are all going to be reasonable restrictions on the freedom of assembly and the right of petition. Illegally taking over an interstate and starting a riot when somebody gets hit by a car accidentally is not going to be a form of protected free speech and assembly. So that's the First Amendment. It protects some of the most important natural rights and individual liberties on how we think, speak, and act.
The First Amendment is first for a reason. The Second Amendment is just in case the first one doesn't work out.
That's a brilliant interpretation, actually. The Second Amendment states, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. I still fail to understand what's complicated about this. I think it's contextual. Well, maybe it's just people just want to ban guns entirely. But in case it's contextual, allow me to give you some context. The Second Amendment is a sort of mixture of language taken from other state constitutions at the time, which all largely say the same thing. Pennsylvania, in their state constitution, said it like this, that the people have a right to bear arms for the defense of themselves and the state. Massachusetts said it like this, the people have a right to keep and bear arms for the common defense. Virginia said it like this, that a well-regulated militia composed of the body of the people trained to arms is the proper, natural, and safe defense of a free state. The main concern of why this amendment exists is fear of a standing army in peacetime, as it might become troublesome to a free state, tyrannical. Therefore, the people should be personally armed to provide for their own defense. We know that this was the concern at the time because places like Virginia said this, standing armies in time of peace should be avoided as dangerous to liberty, and that in all cases the military should be under strict subordination to and governed by the civil power. The militia is not the military. It never was, it never has been, and it never will be. The militia is the people, the body of free citizens.
But it says well-regulated militia. Even if it is the body of the people, that means well-regulated.
Look, anybody who conflates this with the military and thereby government oversight is just flatly wrong. Well-regulated doesn't mean well-regulated by the government. It means a well-ordered people. This is the well-ordered militia. The idea of ordered freedom is the ideal thing that the entire Constitution, the Bill of Rights, is going for. Now, you might say, fine.
The right to bear arms only applies in the context of a militia. It is not a personal right to own a firearm.
I hate to break it to you, but it is exactly that. You can't have a body of citizens who are not the government be armed as a necessity to the security of a free state without having them be personally armed. The militia, as in the people, is the mechanism by which the security of the free state is ensured. If anyone or anything becomes a threat to that security, whether that's an individual or a foreign or a domestic standing army, the Second Amendment is there to ensure its defense.
Welcome in, everybody. And that's where I think, whoa, look at his eyes. I got to change
It's
that.
different because today we have a military that's peaceful and on our side and here to defend us. So why do we need a militia?
This is an honest question. You honestly think that this country would be better off if the only people that had firearms was the government?
Ooh, that's a good question. And we're not getting off topic. We're keeping on the First Amendment. I want to kind of just slowly go over these first 10 amendments, not to bore anybody. I hope it's not boring, but we're going to get started on some other First Amendment. He does go on to the other amendments, but I think it is important just to get a little refresher. If you guys are just at work, or maybe you just got home cooking dinner and you're in listening mode, but he is a great speaker. His name is, what the heck? I forgot his name. Jake the Lawyer, and I'm going to put a link, so go give him a sub. We're just reacting to, his expertise. That's what we need. We need people who are experts, scholars. If you are that, come on in. I'm going to put the link in the chat in a bit, and have some people, if you've had any experiences where, you had to file civil rights, things like that. But we're really just trying to, take a deep breath. There's lots of other drama going on, obviously with the Nancy Guthrie case and Savannah coming out with her saying that, the second ransom note, it's all real weird, the timing of it all. But I prayers for Savannah and the family. That's all we can hope for, is they will get justice. Nancy will get justice. The community will get some answers, and they will feel like, hey, we got justice, so they can sleep better. The family, prayers to the family. Savannah, I just can't imagine everything they're going through. But we are talking about our rights today. If we wanted to do a report on a major crime story on the public right away. So here we go. Thank you, Molly. Welcome in. Thank you. Thank you for coming in. I'm going to get this playing. I have a special song I'm going to play here in just a minute. Somebody sent me. Here we go.
You lived through 2020 and you feel that way? Is that? Yes. The Second Amendment means that the people, and therefore the militia, can be turned against the existing government if that government becomes destructive of the purpose for which it was designed. Is that a good thing? No. That would be absolutely horrible. But let's be clear. The Second Amendment is not a hunting right, okay? It's not a right to protect people who are into shooting sports. It is the right of revolution manifest. Does that sound extreme? Yes, it does. It was written by extreme men living through an extreme time who fought off the mighty British Empire to create a country and a nation that had never existed before on the face of the planet. And the first document that nation ever wrote was the Declaration of Independence, which states this: that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, It is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundations on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. This is reinforced by several state constitutions that also specifically and expressly state a right of revolution in their constitution. I'll give you an example. New Hampshire, the people have a right to reform their government and have a right to resist and even to overthrow government when the protection, security, and happiness of the people are endangered. Virginia, Vermont, Pennsylvania, and other states also had similar explicitly stated rights of revolution right there in their state constitutions. Now, with that context, look at the Second Amendment language and tell me that it is not exactly what I just said it is.
Gun.
Gentlemen, we cannot just have an amendment that says guns. What about guns?
Having them.
Moving on. The Third Amendment, America's sleepy little angel. No soldier shall, in time of peace, be quartered in any house, without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. Now, a lot of people make fun of this amendment, as I just did, because it's never...
After this amendment, we will go over the Fourth Amendment. This is a slow start to the show, but we had a good start with the song, kind of setting the standard of, here we go. You can't cancel all of us, right? If you're educated, you can't cancel all. We're going to get the song again. Shout out Tom McDonald.
Become an issue. We've never had to deal with the problem, but I can guarantee you if the Second Amendment was ever truly needed, the Third Amendment would very quickly become a problem. And that's exactly why it's the third. Thank God it has never been an issue. In layman's terms, it says that the government cannot force you to keep soldiers in your home during a time of peace. This was very much a problem during the time of the Revolution and before, where the British Crown would send redcoats out and force people to house them and to feed them. But it also says that the government can do this in a time of war if done in a manner prescribed by law. That's where things would become really ugly. And let's just hope that this sleepy little angel boy stays exactly the way that he's always been since he was born in 1791. The next amendments, the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 8th, lay out the general body of rights known as the rights of the accused. And the reason why these amendments come directly after the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd is, again, not by accident. 4th Amendment. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue, but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the person or things to be seized. Okay, the 4th Amendment protects you from unreasonable searches and seizures by the government. This includes them taking or searching you, your personal property, your private information, or your home without good reason. The taking and searching cannot be unreasonable. Okay, unreasonable. What does that mean? Reasonable generally means probable cause, which means the facts and...
So they're going to people's houses on some crimes that we know are very light on the totem scale. You saw the pictures, how many different deputies showed up. Abuse of power, intimidation.
Circumstances, if presented to a reasonable person, would likely have them believe that the information is sufficient to say a crime or evidence of a crime. It's probably going to be found here if you dig into it. In most cases, a warrant must be issued before a search and seizure, and also the 4th Amendment specifically requires that warrants shall not issue but upon approval from, say, a judge or a sworn magistrate. It also requires that warrants must be specific. They must state exactly what is going to be searched and specifically detail what is going to be seized. In simple terms, your person, your property, or your privacy are all highly protected rights that if the government is going to take them away from you, it needs to follow very specific rules.
There we go. The public right of way is called that for a reason. It's a public right of way. The public can be there. The government can't simply just come take away because somebody's feelings are hurt. It doesn't work that way.
And like all of the amendments, there are, of course, some exceptions. If you voluntarily consent to a search, even if you didn't know you had a choice, there is no warrant requirement. Searches that result from lawful arrest are also an exception. Police do not need a warrant to search your person or the area under their immediate control if they are already lawfully arresting you. Plain view is an exception. If police are lawfully present in an area and can plainly see evidence of a crime or the commission of a crime, there is no need for a warrant. Cars can also be searched or seized without a warrant if police have probable cause that there might be evidence inside of them. There is also the stop and frisk exception, known as the Terry stop, in the famous case of Terry versus Ohio. Terry, why are you suing Ohio again?
Man, they keep stopping and frisking me on the street. I don't know what's going on with these guys. I don't know if these cops were in the Navy before they did their duty or what, but they keep frisking me.
No,
Welcome in, everybody. Captain Kev is making a presence, and I believe he said he was a deputy, so maybe we can bring him on in a little bit if he has time. I know he's busy, but if he has time, and just talk about rights. You know, we're not going to talk about specific cases. I can talk about my situation, but the rights for just general people, they want to go out and record. So thank you for coming in. Welcome in. If you had an experience you want to share, we're going to open the panel here in just a minute. Looks like we have some people, new people coming in. This is Jake the lawyer. We're just doing a refresher. We're going to be live here, just kind of reviewing these First Amendment rights. Thank you guys for joining me today. Here we go.
Terry stop is really simple. The basic concept is this. If you're acting suspicious on the street, then the police can establish what's known as a reasonable suspicion. A reasonable person would look at the person on the street and go, that person is acting suspicious. That allows the police to temporarily detain you, ask you some questions, and search your person immediately for weapons to establish whether or not you're a danger. But don't be fooled by all these exceptions. There are a lot of videos online that have hacks on how to deal with police interactions and things like that. Let me just give you a sound piece of advice. They're all dumb. The best thing that you can do if a police officer stops you, first and foremost, is to not be committing a crime. That's the number one thing. Start there. Now, if you are committing a crime the moment an officer stops you, the next best thing you can do is be calm and obey orders. The absolute worst possible thing that you can be doing if an officer stops you is be committing a crime, not be calm, and not obey orders.
I'm in the fucking lane. Hi, everyone. Donut here. Oh, man.
Now, to be clear, if you have a reason to believe that an officer is violating your Fourth Amendment rights, do not argue with the officer during the incident. They're not the ones who are going to solve this problem. Be calm, and after the incident is over, take the issue before the law. Whether or not an officer has violated your Fourth Amendment rights is not something that's going to be decided by them. It's going to be decided by the court. So there's no reason to fight with them about it, because that's how the law works. The Fifth Amendment is the potpourri of the rights of the accused, and it also throws in the takings clause just for fun right at the end. Here's what it says. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia when in actual service in time of war or public danger. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. Whew. It's a long one. Anyway, there are 5 things outlined in the Fifth Amendment. Grand jury indictments. Okay, what is a grand jury and what is an indictment? Well, if you're held to answer for a capital or other infamous crime, meaning that you've been accused of a capital crime where the punishment is death, or another infamous crime like a felony, you cannot be tried for that crime unless you are first indicted by a grand jury. This is the only way that the government can bring serious criminal charges against somebody. But remember, it is not the trial itself. Here's how an indictment works. Typically, a group between 16 and 23 people are selected for jury duty. This is why it is known as a grand jury, because it is bigger than the normal.
Welcome in as you see on the screen. Let's read this. Let's read this. I know everybody likes to make accusations. Presumed innocent. All featured in this broadcast, actually all citizens as well, are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.
Jury, which is typically around 12. The local prosecutor or whoever is attempting to charge the accused of the crime will then present all the evidence that they have to the grand jury. The job of the grand jury is not to determine guilt or innocence. It is to serve as a check on governmental power, to determine only if the government has enough evidence to establish probable cause that a crime has been committed. The defendant does not present anything during this time because they have not yet been indicted, and you cannot hold them to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime without an indictment.
Well, that seems to make sense.
So, if at least 12 jurors find that there is probable cause, then they issue what is known as an indictment, and this becomes the official charging document of the case. And if at least 12 do not find probable cause, then the prosecutor cannot pursue the case. Of course, this does not apply to military or JAG law as stated right there in the Fifth Amendment. That's an entirely separate thing that I'm not going to get into right here. Double jeopardy. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb. This one's pretty basic, but also essential to liberty. You cannot be tried twice for the same crime after a valid acquittal or conviction. But remember, kids, this refers to each count of a crime, not just have I ever committed a robbery. It's not like you can commit robbery once, go to jail, come back out, and then commit another robbery and not be tried for it. No, we talk about counts. The first one is the first count of robbery. If you do it again, that's a second count of robbery. You can be tried for that. Also,
Welcome in, everybody. I'm going to put the link in. If we do have any, we're kind of limiting it to First Amendment. You know, if you had something like a First Amendment thing happen, or if you are like a scholar, if the Vigilance Committee is in there, anybody who wants to talk about, if you just want to share your opinion on these, what we're going over, obviously freedom of speech, freedom of press, you're a citizen reporter. You might not, one day you might need to be recording something, and you know, you need to know your rights. So we're just going over. Here's the link. Welcome to all the mods. Christina, Amanda, Tina. Looks like we got, see if I missed any, but welcome all the mods. Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you, Jacqueline. Also, Dom C earlier, if you got a gift from Dom C, she sent those 10 over. Thank you. And Bobby. Thank you. So hopefully everyone is having a good evening. We're going to get back. This is almost over. About 10 more minutes.
I like the language here. Put in jeopardy of life or limb. You know, like your head. Did you know that France was the last country to use the guillotine in an official public execution, and it happened in 1977? Yeah. Guillotines are humane. Okay, I'm just saying. Think about it this way. Blade comes down. Head chops off. Head falls immediately into a basket. Then they immediately roll the body into a casket, and boom, it's a done deal. And guess what? Everyone gets to see why you don't do heinous things to other people. No self-incrimination. Nor shall any person be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself. This is the classic "I plead the fifth" phrase.
I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth.
You cannot be forced to testify against yourself in court, and the reason is very simple. It goes back to the idea that if the government is charging you with a crime, they're attempting to take away your life or your liberty, and so therefore the burden of proof is on them. This is where the idea of innocent until proven guilty comes from. Because remember, by default, you have natural rights and liberties. So if the government is going to take them away from you, they need to prove up their case. As part of this process, they cannot force you to testify against yourself.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Due process. Nor shall any person be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Again, due process protects a fundamental right of the accused. The basic idea here is that the government cannot deprive you of some of the most fundamental things you have in life without a fair, consistent set of rules. Due process, in the most basic terms, ensures your day in court. It requires a fair hearing, and it also requires an opportunity for you yourself to be heard and to present your side of the story. Ensuring due process ensures that there are consistent, predictable, and repeatable processes, even when people are being charged with crimes and they're going through the criminal justice system. And lastly, we have the takings clause, which has nothing to do with the rights of the accused, but they just put it in there because I'm not sure they knew where else to put it. I don't know. Nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. A lot of people don't know this, but yes, the government can take your property from you if it is for public purposes. This applies to personal property, but most commonly we refer to it in the form of eminent domain and the taking of real property, typically for public works projects. But just because it is here in the Fifth Amendment under the rights of the accused, don't get confused. The government.
All right, everybody, welcome in. Welcome in. We are going to this next part is about criminal trials, which, you know, if they continue to want to not drop these charges, we are going to have to. I mean, I don't know. We're waiting for the final call, but we are obviously all going to plead not guilty. We're presumed innocent.
Sixth Amendment. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. Okay, let's break it down. The right to a speedy and public trial. Of course, another natural rights aspect to having a crime or a criminal charge brought against you is to have a speedy trial. You can't have a criminal case go on forever arbitrarily against somebody. This is a harm to their name, their reputation, and their welfare. And even if they are acquitted, say 10 years later, if a trial against you goes on for 10 years, and specifically if it goes on for that long and it's not made public, then you don't really have the opportunity to state your case to the rest of the public in your community or your home. Without a speedy and public trial, the government could effectively just ruin people's lives by filing criminal cases against them that just arbitrarily drag on forever and are not made public. And this portion of the Sixth Amendment is to protect against that. You also have the right to a jury in criminal prosecutions, to know the nature and cause of the accusation, and to confront witnesses against you. They must reveal themselves to you. You must know who they are, and they must stand before you and make that accusation against you.
There we go. So anybody who's saying that they called 857, I want to see all these calls that were against me, that they had to go in there and violate my rights against me. Who are they called? Do they have any description of me? And I have the right, and that's what it's saying. We all do. Anybody who made calls, we have the right to subpoena them, including Sheriff Nanos.
This is a fundamental right. Also under the Sixth Amendment, you have the right to compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in your favor. This means that you have a right to subpoena witnesses so you can present your side of the story. What does that mean? Subpoena means under penalty. This means that you can file a subpoena to compel somebody to be a witness for you. This is fundamental because it allows you to present your side of the case and not be reliant on the evidence or witnesses that the prosecution presents. The prosecution could effectively just cherry pick witnesses and evidence, present their side of the case only, and then the jury would only have that information to decide upon. This is absolutely essential to a fair trial, and it's often one of the most overlooked aspects of the Sixth Amendment. Assistance of counsel. Lastly, this is the idea that if you cannot afford an attorney for your own defense, legal counsel will be provided for you without charge. We call this type of lawyer a public defendant, and honestly, I have the utmost respect for these people because it is one of the most underappreciated aspects of our legal system. Even if you're a bad dude, even if you're the worst of the worst and you're going to be put to death for what you did, that does not deny you the right of due process and legal punishment for your crimes. Without this fundamental aspect of the Sixth Amendment, we can quickly fall into tyranny, and this is an absolute hallmark of a free society. As a whole, the Fifth and Sixth Amendment rights of the accused are presented to people when they are arrested in the form of Miranda rights. We've all seen it in movies. A police officer arrests somebody and they start saying, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used as evidence against you, blah, blah, blah. This is known as Mirandization, and it is actually a legal requirement when you are seizing somebody and placing them under lawful arrest.
What possible reason is there for not doing the only thing you have to do when arresting someone?
I did read him his right. I did a version of that.
Eighth Amendment. I'm going to quickly skip to the Eighth Amendment here because it still falls under the rights of the accused, and then we'll go back and we'll talk about the Seventh. The Eighth Amendment says this: excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. I like this one because it's very simple and to the point, but it's also essential. The government's job is to create consistent, predictable laws and to also pair those with consistent, predictable punishments. Punishments cannot be excessive or cruel or unusual, meaning things that are just outside of the norm of what would be expected. Say you commit burglary. Okay, well, one guy goes to jail for 3 to 5 years. First time offense, felony, okay, done. The other guy, we're going to send him off to a desert island and we're going to leave him there for 10 years. That would be unusual, certainly. And it's probably cruel unless he's like a Bear Grylls guy, in which case he's just having fun the whole time. Anyway, the Eighth Amendment is nice and simple, and it ensures the consistency across the board. Taken together, the Fourth, Fifth, Sixth, and Eighth Amendments, again, make up the body that we call the rights of the
Almost done, guys. Hang in there.
Seventh Amendment. In suits at common law where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall otherwise be re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of the common law. The Seventh Amendment protects trial by jury in cases of civil or common law disputes. Now you might say, well, I thought the Bill of Rights was there to protect you from the government. And well, this is also still true in the Seventh Amendment. It's a little less obvious when you're just looking at the text. You see, civil trials for centuries in England were seen as essential to protecting individual liberty. They would protect against royal judges abusing power, favoritism towards the government, and unfair or arbitrary decisions. And during the ratification of the Bill of Rights, the framers wanted to carry these safeguards into American law. There was concern that the new federal government might centralize judicial power, eliminate juries in federal cases, and allow judges to just generally dominate civil law. Now, the Seventh Amendment still protects you from the government because even though the government's not coming after you trying to charge you with a crime, you might have an issue with them and want to sue them in civil court, or they might try to sue you in civil court. And the Seventh Amendment's right to trial by jury was the Bill of Rights insurance policy to say, hey, even in cases at civil law, the facts and those cases are still going to be decided by a body of ordinary citizens, not government officials. Overall, this helps ensure the legitimacy of the federal court system, which is a mechanism that is just as important to ensuring individual liberties as anything else listed in the Bill of Rights. Okay, the Ninth and the 10th Amendments are my personal favorites because they put the final nail in the coffin on this idea of negative rights and negative powers. The Ninth states this: the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. This is saying that just because an inherent fundamental right is enumerated in the Bill of Rights, as in it's written down, does not mean that others don't exist simply because they weren't written down. This list is not exhaustive. It doesn't establish every individual liberty or fundamental natural right that people should have or do have. And so therefore, just be aware, there's going to be things that are going to apply as unenumerated rights that are just as important as the rights we've stated here. Things like the right to privacy, the right to marry and procreate, the right to determine the upbringing and education of your children, the right to travel between the states, and the right to refuse medical treatment are all fundamental, unenumerated rights that...
We see what's going on, though. We see what they're trying to do, and that's what we're doing this show. We're almost done with this video, and we got some people in the queue. I'm going to put the link. Here's the link if you want to come in the queue and talk about, you know, what your rights mean to you. But here we go. Yeah, I'm sorry it's not Nancy Guthrie. We could dive into Nancy Guthrie for 18 hours today, but we're just maybe educating. Hopefully this brings some value. I'm sorry it's not Nancy Guthrie. or it's not a drama stream. It's really just about bringing value to people around you so you can go home tonight, maybe learn something new. I don't know, maybe it's a concept.
The courts and the legal system still very much acknowledge as just as important as the ones listed in the Bill of Rights. And the 10th Amendment effectively does this exact same thing, but instead of pointing it at the Bill of Rights, it points it at the Constitution itself. It states this: the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. Again, this is a reinforcement of the idea of negative powers in the Constitution. It's saying very specifically that anything not written down as an express power in the Constitution and given to the federal government belongs to the states or the people. Did you know that? Did you know that the federal government can only do what it is legally allowed to do as written down in the Constitution? Obviously, in today's context, this amendment gets more and more hilarious or terrifying, depending on how you look at it. In modern printed book format, the Constitution and the Bill of Rights would take up about 12 to 15 pages. Yet last year alone, the federal government printed 3,324 pages of bills that were signed into law. Well, there are obviously a bunch of reasons for this. This simple fact perfectly represents the expansion of federal powers since.
There we go. So this is the ending of the video where this expansion of federal powers, the overreach, if you don't see the overreach that's happening, and then they get it on the local level and they're going after citizens, just normal citizens. Here we go. This is Jake the lawyer. I just put a link to his channel. This is the ending, everybody, and then we're going to move on.
The time of the Bill of Rights. From banking to social programs, regulations, immigration, and public safety, the federal government is now in more aspects of our daily lives than it has ever been. And it was never intended to be like this. Let me give you a little known fact. Anytime the federal government passes a law, it must point to directly where it derives that authority within the Constitution. It must point to one of its enumerated rights and say, here, right here, this is where we're getting our authority to do this whole bill that we're now signing into law. And this is my personal opinion. This has gone way too far. Now, don't get me wrong. The world has changed a lot since the time of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, but also when you think about it in the context of legal history, with the idea that the Bill of Rights has an 800-year progress going from the Magna Carta all the way up to modern day, it actually hasn't changed all that much in some ways. And allowing this much federal authority is completely outside the bounds of how the Constitution and the Bill of Rights were written. And I think it's about high time we begin trimming that back a little bit. Now, don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean we should get rid of the federal government or something like that. But think about it this way. Most Americans just want to be left alone. You see, Americans are smart. People came here from all over the world to get here. We can figure it out. And that's the basic concept that's facing us when we look at the text of the Bill of Rights. It's facing us directly right there. And it's saying, hey, here you go. Figure it out. Government, let them be.
Let them be. What if they just let us be? We just reported as we do, citizen reporters, independent media. What if they just let us be? Walk the other way. Drove this way instead of that way. But they did overreach, abuse of power, targeted it.
Federal government solution for every problem that we encounter as a society is not a self-evident net positive for this country. And the reason why that is very simple. It was never designed that way. Anyways, I'll leave you with that. I don't want to take this video too far off track of what its purpose is. And if you've made it this far, I hope you learned something.
All right. I hope you learned something. That's the main thing. I know we lose a lot of people if you don't sit here and talk about Nancy Guthrie for 18 hours a day. Then, whatever. But here we're not giving up on keeping Nancy's name, but we also are having to fight these charges. We're getting, haters. We're getting, how many pizzas that have been delivered I've had to cancel? You guys don't even, I have it all recorded. This wasn't just one time. This has been a constant thing. Nobody should have to go through this, but welcome in everybody. We're going to do a little middle, interlude to play this song right here. Next, Tom McDonald. And this is what it's about. You know, they call it good trouble. We never went intended to get in trouble. I'll tell you that. I never went out going, oh, let me see. Nope. I just hadn't been to Nancy's. I'm going to do a report just like all the other media does. Just like all the others. So thank you for tuning in. Here's a little for the next. I'm going to put the link. We have nobody that wants to talk. We got one. Okay, good. So we got Deanna ready to talk. We're going to play this song real quick.
We've all been hooked on something. Coffee, cocaine, or cigarettes. And we've all been asked to sell our souls for a nicer office and a bigger check. And we've all been at the bottom, had the lights cut off, barely paying rent. And we've all been in love with someone who said they'd stay, but they up and left. And we don't ask for help, we don't cry no tears. We know walking through hell, it can take some years. But we don't blame no one, cause it may be our fault. We may be all the names that we've been called. And maybe we're losers, maybe we're wrong. Maybe we're bad guys and they knew it all along. Or maybe we're perfect, but probably not. Either way, babe, I'm just proud to be a problem they can't solve. And we've all been hooked on something. Pills or beer, mobile phones, and we've all done things that we regret to avoid laying alone. And Lord, we've had some bad days, depressed and anxious or drunk and stoned. And we've all had nights when we go to sleep and don't want to live no more. But we don't ask for help, we don't cry no tears. We know walking through hell, it can take some years. But we don't blame no one, cause it may be our fault. We may be all the names that we've been called. And maybe we're losers, maybe we're wrong. Maybe we're bad guys and they knew it all along. Or maybe we're perfect, but probably not. Either way, babe, I'm just proud to be a problem they can't solve.
All right, welcome in. We got Deanna. There you are. Deanna, welcome in.
Hello.
How's it going? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
How's it going? Welcome in.
Hello.
So, what's on your mind today, Deanna?
Hello. So I am from Montana.
I'm having a little trouble hearing you. You might want to turn your TV down or the background noise.
Yes, I just turned my TV off.
So what did you think about the First Amendment guy?
I absolutely love you.
Have you had any experiences like that where your rights were violated or anything like that? I might have to have her come back. If you're having trouble hearing, just sign in and sign back out.
All right, I will come back in.
Okay. Well, what do you want to say? Because it's I can't hear you.
Oh, so I am a Montana searcher.
Okay.
I am in the committee to look for all of
Your phone keeps getting muffled, so make sure you're talking real clearly right into the speaker because it keeps getting muffled. We still don't know what you're saying. It's hard to hear. So we'll bring her back. Deanna will kick you out here, but not to kick you out for good. Come on back. Come on back. So welcome in everybody. I'm going to put a link. I want to hear what you guys think. If there's any First Amendment scholars, we do have a video I'm going to pull up here of Lane Myers. Pull that one up, actually. I don't know if it's up still, if it was deleted, if it's up. Yep, there it is. So we'll get that ready going. Hello, welcome in, Elizabeth. Thank you, Dom C. Almost reaching the goal. Appreciate you guys coming in. Right now, we are just kind of going over a refresher of our rights. And the next one is a quick, it's a short video, but this is specifically on the rights. This is by V Powers. They got 152 subscribers, so give them
I've always
a follow.
been fascinated by the power of words, and today we're diving into the ultimate protector of those words, the First Amendment. But free speech isn't as simple as just saying whatever you want, whenever you want. It's a right with responsibilities, limits, and a whole lot of legal precedents. So buckle up, because we're about to take a whirlwind tour of the First Amendment, free speech, and where America draws the line. Let's break this down. The First Amendment states, Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech. Sounds pretty straightforward, right? But as it turns out, the Supreme Court has spent centuries figuring out what that actually means. Free speech is the cornerstone of democracy, letting us express ideas and criticize the government without fear.
There we go. Everybody walks around fear. Fear, 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 fear. They want us to be scared. They want us to be intimidated. But we have every right. All these rights, our Bill of Rights, constitutional rights. So once you understand these better and more clear, then we won't be walking around fear of our own government.
But here's where it gets tricky. Free speech isn't absolute. There are categories of speech that aren't protected. Why? Because sometimes words can cause real harm or threaten public safety. It's like, yelling fire in a crowded theater. Not cool and definitely not protected. So what kind of speech isn't protected? Let's start with incitement to violence. In Brandenburg v. Ohio, 1969, the court ruled that speech advocating illegal conduct is only unprotected if it's likely to incite imminent lawless action. Then we have fighting words and obscenity. Fighting words, as defined in Chaplinsky v. New Hampshire, 1942, are words that would likely make someone punch you in the face. Not literally, but you get it. Obscenity is trickier. In Miller v. California, 1973, the court made a test. If it's prurient, patently offensive, and lacks serious value, it might be obscene. But defining obscenity is like trying to nail jelly to a wall. Now, you might be wondering about defamation. That's when you say false things that damage someone's reputation.
And that's what's happened. I got people coming into my chat. They're on the internet trying to get all this information of my life because my whole name. Oh, but that's no big deal. You think the media is going to bed? You think all those reporters who are reporting, false arrests on me, that they're going to bed worried about that?
New York Times Covey Sullivan, 1964. The court set a high bar for public figures to prove defamation. But for private individuals, the standards are lower, making it easier to sue if someone's spreading lies about you. Let's talk about...
Well, I got to stop it. Thank you so much. Holy moly. Thank you, Shane. Shane Wayne, thank you so much. Yes, that is the mission. That is the mission. With this trauma will bring change, and that association coalition. Thank you so much, Shane. Wow. Wow, that's amazing support. I appreciate that, Shane. And yeah, the mission, we just got to fight these charges first. Hopefully they drop them. And we got civil rights lawyers. Everybody could see what happened, even the judge. So welcome in, everybody. Thank you so much, Shane, for that amazing support. Wow. Thank you.
About true threats. In Counterman v. Colorado 2023, the court said a true threat doesn't need subjective intent. If a reasonable person would see it as a threat, and the speaker is at least reckless about that, it's not protected. This is different from just being angry. A true threat makes the target fear for their safety, like, I'm coming to your house with a weapon, not, I strongly disagree with you, you jerk.
And that's what we have to understand, everybody. I know this isn't Nancy Guthrie. We had 800 in here at the beginning. And now if I would have said Nancy Guthrie for the last hour, people, oh, Nancy Guthrie. Sometimes you got to take a break. Nancy Guthrie, we're not stopping, but you got to educate yourselves. And everybody's on the internet, making their little hit piece videos. And you know what? The main thing is that's protected under freedom of speech. People are allowed to say what they want as long as as it said, you're not threatening someone that you're going to come over. So as much as people want to be critical of certain things, and we have to understand the YouTube people make videos to for their community, and it's not really designed like we're in a professional setting, right? So people are making videos. Some of it is based on entertainment, but also trying to help each other, right? I hope that we all can get along, right? With the John Lennon, we can all get along, but obviously people like to go about things a little differently, which is fine. That's what makes America great. People can make, videos as long as it's not defamation of your character across thousands of articles. But obviously there is a gray area that is always talked about in the court of law and public opinion. So back to this quick little video. We're almost done. If you want to come chat, come in. Sorry, we're not talking about Nancy Guthrie or Savannah Guthrie today, but we're just taking a little detour.
Okay, let's rapid fire through some key cases. For incitement, Brandenburg v. Ohio, Hess v. Indiana, NBACP v. Claiborne Hardware Company, Holder v. Humanitarian Law Project, and United States v. Alvarez. Fighting words, Chaplinsky v. New Hampshire, Cohen v. California, Rav v. City of St. Paul, Virginia v. Black, and Snyder v. Phelps. For obscenity, Roth v. United States, Miller v. California, Jenkins v. Georgia, Pope v. Illinois, and Ashcroft v. Free Speech Coalition. Defamation, New York Times, Coe v. Sullivan, Gertz v. Robert Welch, Inc., Hustler Magazine v. Falwell, Milkovich v. Lorraine Journal Company, and United States v. Alvarez. And for true threats, Watts v. United States, Virginia v. Black, Alonis v. United States, Counterman v. Colorado, and United States v. Bagdasarian.
Now, what they are doing is this is actually a good video to go back, because these are all big cases that happened that actually set the precedents for different situations.
So in short, free speech is a right, but it comes with responsibilities. Knowing where the lines are drawn helps us use our voices effectively and respectfully. The First Amendment protects debate, dissent, and the marketplace of ideas, not harm. As you go out into the world, use your words wisely. Oh, and don't forget, subtitles are available if you need them. Stay curious and keep
Stay curious. That's it. And keep questioning, right? Stay curious. That is one of my favorite 2-word quotes. Stay curious. Keep learning. Obviously watching 62 hours of The Real Housewives of California, I don't know how much you're going to get out of that. And maybe back in the day when it was all coming out, Netflix, like that was like fun to do. But it's also fun to learn about your rights, know what you can do in your own community to help, even just from your couch. You know, you don't have to be on the boots on the ground, right? You can do lots of different things, advocate for victims, help some search group if you like getting out searching. So, but you got to know on your rights. If you're out searching, if you're doing this, whatever it is, it will help you. So thank you guys. Thank you, Domsey. My daughter stopped talking to us because she didn't like our political views, which have never changed or outspoken, but her cult cut off ties to all their conservative members. Domsey, that is a familiar story in America right now. So do not, just know you have a lot of people behind you that have had to deal with certain things, friends. If you don't follow the exact political thing of your friend, now they don't want to be your friend. It's weird. So Domsey, you know you stand to your morals and they will come around one day. And if not, let's just wish them happiness and success, and that's okay too. But sorry you're going through that. I can definitely know what that's like. Thank you, Dom C, again for all your support. Always supporting Dom C. Thank you, and the great comments with positivity. Melissa, thank you for joining, becoming a YouTube member. So we got lots of people commenting. We lost her. Deanna was in the chat. I thought we could maybe track down Vigilance Committee if he's around, but we are. So there we go, Dom C. We are with you. But the thing about it is, you can't. Everybody has their own opinion. You kind of just gotta let it go, and just let them be who they want to be. And then hopefully one day, I pray that you'll be able to build a bridge of some sort of communication. But let's see where we're at next. So we do have a little song that somebody sent me. I think it'll cheer everybody up a little bit. So here we go. Look this up. Boom, boom. So here is a song. I got to step away for this is only a short song. It's only 3 minutes. So I'll be back. 3 minutes should be enough. Make sure it's not too loud. This goes out to Brian McDonough. If you want to clip this and tag Brian McDonough, do whatever you want. This is the community's video. Anybody can take this video. It's called Stay the Course. If you guys remember, Brian McDonough came into the chat last night. And so we got a song now with his advice, Stay the Course, after Brian McDonough. So here we go. This is the song, everybody. You can clip this, so get your clippers ready. Get your clippers ready. Here we go. All right, so this is going to be it. The clippers. Here we go. This is called Stay the Course, in inspiration of Brian McDonough from the interviews. Advice.
Out on the street with a camera in hand, telling the story, just doing what we can. From sidewalks to city halls under open skies, we speak the truth, no need to disguise. Journalists, dreamers, everyday souls, holding the line, playing our roles. Where does it end? Where does it begin? Accountability or overreach stepping in. the course, stay the course for our rights. Don't give up the fight on our fight. Stay the course, we won't back down tonight. Day 5 to 7 community. JLR Army strong. YouTubers all around, we belong. We stand together for the community with unity. Voices rising in harmony. From every land, from every view, the power of speech belongs to you. No fear, no silence, so we stand tall. Freedom of the press belongs to all. Stay the course, stay the course for our rights. And don't give up the fight on our fight. Stay the course, we won't back down tonight. Stay the course, stay the course for our rights. And don't give up the fight on our fight. Stay the course, we won't back down tonight.
All right, everybody. Hopefully you like this song. We are getting quite a great amount of songs. So many people making songs to bring people together with this AI. Some people say, why AI? Well, that's the thing, is you can make these custom songs right to specifically what you want to talk about, and it brings people a warm, fuzzy feeling. Right. So thank you, PI 56. Thank you so much. Oh, I love that show the other day with you. And she's fighting for her rights. I know she was waiting. She says, great to see you. Really was so happy you hit your goal. Excuse me. The boost in my subs real time was amazing. Your positive energy is inspiring. Thank you. So sweet. Thank you so much. Hopefully, yeah, everyone's saying great song. Little Red says KVOA is guilty of spreading lies. So we are keeping the awareness going, educating people. But also, when we go out, boots on the ground, we don't want to have to worry. I don't want to have to be in fear. If I wanted to go to Nancy's and do a couple hours today in Nancy's in front of the front and the right away, I should be able to. There's no reason the government should take that right away from me. These neighbors, I don't even know them. I mean, I don't know who they're talking to. I don't even know Sue Ellen. I've never talked to her once in my life. Not even once. She can't say she's ever talked to me and go, you know what? I remember. Not even once. When Sue Ellen came, I backing away. Sue Ellen comes, I go the other way. So I don't know what the heck's going on. I know Sue Ellen doesn't know me. The only reason I know her is because I would see her come out and she would be pointing her fingers at people. And that's the whole point. There's called a decorum. What do they call it? Respect. and how you handle things. And if they would have came out and tried to talk to me that day, I would have been very cordial. I would just have a normal conversation, just like we deserve. Try to show me one conversation where she came and tried to talk to me and said I'm being no, there's nothing. There's not one neighbor. I would be as friendly as possible, but if they didn't talk to me, I mean, no worries. So here we go. We're in these charges now, basically fighting for our rights. So let's see who we got in the chat, and I'm gonna pull up this little interesting thing. Give Lane Myers a shout out. Give him some subs. He's a local guy. He's experienced some stuff with the being charged. Here's his channel, Lane Myers, if you guys know him. But here he did a little video yesterday where he actually called this lawyer on the phone because this lawyer made a video. This video right here.
A little bit older. The video they are, and what Myers is stating that
his victim works, and
he wants for the modification
asks
that
for
he
the
be allowed
modification that
to
he'd be able to name the victim and her
name the victim
family.
and
So let me give you a little backstory. Is Lane Myers has a channel, and then this guy, really cool news, made a video about him. And this is what's happening in the true crime world. People are making videos about each other, silly videos. Some of them are in fun, but this guy, really cool news, kind of made a hit piece on Lane Myers. And now Lane Myers basically shows the video and then he calls the lawyer on the phone. This guy right here. So it's kind of interesting because this is what's happening. People are making videos, they're making comments, not about that, but other situations with the YouTubers. So shout out to Lane Myers. Give me a 1 if you know who Lane Myers is. Give me a 2 if you don't. 1 if you know him, 2 if you don't. But he got kind of put through the ringer here in Pima County for reporting on government officials. I don't know all the details, but he definitely stands for First Amendment rights, I believe. Actually, I know. Look,
his arguments were to stalk, not asking to contact the victim or publicly available. I believe that.
see if I can find when he calls this guy.
He says, okay, this is just me exercise my, this is just him. He's saying, I'm not speaking as a lawyer. I'm not a public figure. They literally go to court and sign motions on behalf of the state of Arizona, but they're not. But anyways, let's get back for a second. Pay
Give me
very
1
close
second. Let me see if I can find actually when he's talking. And here is the link if you want to come chat. There is the link. Be right back out trying to find this video. All right, I found it. All right, so I found it. So we're right to the part where give you a little summary. This guy, this lawyer, John Emerson, made a video about Lane Myers. And now Lane Myers actually calls up the guy, John, on the phone to confront him about the video. And they're talking all kinds of legal terms. It's a little drama, I'll admit, but it's fun. You know, I know it's not Nancy Guthrie, but it's interesting. It's something maybe you haven't heard before. We could go over, 19 things that, the other media reported, but we're just going to switch gears a little bit right now. This is hilarious. So I think you'll find it entertaining. If not, go. There's probably a couple Nancy Guthrie chats going on right now.
Rietveld has to say about this video that he posted.
This is John.
Hey, how you doing, John? This is Lane Myers. I was wondering if you'd like to give some statements regarding to the news report you published on your YouTube channel last night.
He just starts laughing.
That's funny, dude. Sure.
Okay, so would you like me to give you the floor to just kind of, give the because like you've had time to analyze your video, you've seen comments from Mr. Myers making statements, correcting statements you've made in that video, right?
Why are you referring to yourself in the third person?
Would you like to remain on subject here, sir?
No, I'd like to know why you're referring to yourself in the third person. Seems a little weird.
This call is pursuant to Rule 3.6 of the Rules of Professional Conduct.
That applies to lawyers, not you. You're not a lawyer.
I'm calling to mitigate substantial undue prejudicial effects of recent publicity not initiated by the lawyer or the lawyer's client. Would you like to make statements in regard to your statements on your news report?
You're neither the lawyer nor the lawyer's client.
Would you like to make?
And I'm not your lawyer, Lane.
Would you like to take the floor and correct the? This is your chance to participate in the analysis of your statements. If not,
Thank you for the chance. I appreciate
it. What do you guys think? I know it's a little bit funny to listen to this banter of a lawyer and a citizen calling up, but I'm giving it a shot. I'm trying to let the Nancy Guthrie stories breathe a little bit, get off a little bit. So thank you for hanging in with me today. Maybe you'll get a little laugh out of this next part. This is Lane Myers. I'm going to put his link. Go give him a follow. He's quite entertaining.
That's what I mean. So do you want to move to that now in the conversation, or do you want to stall and delay?
I'm just pointing out that you can't even read a rule of professional conduct that only applies to lawyers. You even screw that up, dude. It's terrible. You have no idea what you're doing in the legal realm.
Is this John Emerson Rietveld, California bar number 320086?
Yeah, you got my phone number off the state bar website. Of course, it's me.
So the rules of professional conduct do apply to John Emerson Rietveld, right?
Yeah, but they don't apply to you. That's the part you're missing out on. You're not a lawyer.
Okay, sir. Let me clarify then. I'm here to get news comments about your comments in your capacity. I'm not claiming Mr. Myers is making statements pursuant to Rule 3.6.
Why are you referring to yourself in the third person?
I'm claiming that John Emerson Rietveld made statements that are covered by Rule 3.6 as a member of the bar. I believe.
Well, see, again, you're not smart enough to read these things. Number one, I'm not licensed to practice in Arizona. Number two, I'm not representing you, nor am I representing the state. I'm not representing anybody in this.
Are you representing John Emerson Rietveld in your statements?
Welcome in, everybody. Just a little backstory. We're kind of getting off the beaten path. I just needed a break from the Nancy Guthrie stuff, guys. I'll be honest. I know we started with 800 and now nobody wants to learn about their rights. They would rather go talk about the same thing. No new news, no nanos news, nothing. It's all the same. The media wants us to go away. She's dead. They said on the media, she probably died. I mean, it's sad. So we're gonna come back and I'll do Nancy Guthrie, okay, and we'll just be Nancy Guthrie, Nancy Guthrie. But you know, these people don't want to learn about their rights. It's sad. So anyway, this is a lot. We're gonna listen to this, and then I'll sign off for the day or for this episode, talking about the 1A. But it is what it is. This is little comedy, entertainment, but you can also learn something. And hope you're having a good day. Thank you, everyone who is supporting and sticking around to learn.
Representing anybody.
Does John Emerson Rietveld represent the State Bar of California when he makes statements related to legal analysis?
I don't represent the state bar. Representation has a specific meaning that you don't understand.
Okay, so now that can we keep this relative to the statements in the video? We can talk about this other stuff. Okay, so to start out with, right? Can I ask you what Lane Myers was convicted of?
I believe you pled guilty to 2 counts related to civil harassment.
I hope everybody had a wonderful Father.
Exactly on top of my head.
So you don't remember off the top of your head the charges? So is it safe to say that
charges? Hold on. You asked me what you were convicted of.
Yeah, that's yes.
You were charged with. You were charged with more counts than that.
What charges did Mr. Myers plead guilty to?
You pled guilty to 2 counts of something related to criminal harassment. I don't recall off the top of my head. I didn't initiate this conversation. I didn't know this was going to be a gotcha quiz time.
And that's the thing, is everybody goes on the internet and they make videos, and if somebody calls up and wants to have a talk, they got to be ready. And so all these people making hit pieces about everybody, you know, why don't they just talk it out and have a discussion like these 2 people are, instead of, you know, trying to tear each other down. We're in this fight against the government.
Are you responsible for?
And not in a, you know, criminal way. We're in a fight to save our rights. That's what it is. It's an overreach of abuse of power, basically tyrannical, as the vigilance would say, government officials, politicians who overreach and, you know, targeted us when there's way bigger fish to fry, and we didn't break any laws.
For the statements you publish?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go over the statements you published. So you're saying now I didn't
publish a statement about specifically what charges you were convicted of, what you pled guilty to.
Thursday.
Okay, that's fair. No,
you couldn't even stand on your own convictions, where you were going to fight it all the way, and you know it's a First Amendment violation, and all of a sudden you just wuss out. Oh, your supporters were just so disappointed.
John, are you ready? Are you ready to analyze your statements in the video related to what Mr. Myers was convicted of?
Why do you keep referring to yourself in the third person? Are you retarded?
You wonder.
Are you a member of the Bar Association?
I thought we already established that. You got my information off the State Bar website. I'm just asking you, are you retarded? You keep referring to yourself in third person.
Would you like to use
royalty or retarded? I don't think you're royalty, so you must be retarded, right?
Would you like to use this opportunity to correct your statements made in your capacity as a lawyer?
Now, just a little backstory. This guy in the picture, I guess he has a YouTube channel. He made kind of a hit piece on Lane, and now Lane actually called him up on the phone, and they're kind of going back and forth. But this guy, you know, they're talking about First Amendment, making videos, these kinds of things. We're seeing it happen today. There's videos being made right now, I bet.
Representing
in my capacity, I didn't make those statements in my capacity as a lawyer.
So the statement.
I made those statements in my capacity as a person who has First Amendment rights.
So
which you don't seem to understand apply to lawyers too. The lawyers have the First Amendment, and if you applied the same standard of First Amendment accountability to other people or to yourself as you do to other people, you would get fucking wrecked, dude.
John,
all of a sudden things would start making sense for you. because you're really harsh on everybody else's First Amendment. Then when it comes to you, oh, I want all the leniency, everything. I get to see everything and do everything because of my First Amendment. And then like, oh, all of a sudden, Big Jim Finch isn't a news reporter.
We're gonna get to that. Let's get to that. Hold on. Hold on, we'll get to that. Let's start. We want to start at the beginning of your video.
Get to what I want to get to. I want to know why you're so retarded that you refer to yourself in the third person.
Would you like to clarify your statements in the video?
Answer my question, Lane. I've answered several years. Why don't you answer my question?
I don't answer questions. I'm the news reporter gathering information.
You're a news reporter gathering. Well, I'm a news reporter gathering information too. How about that?
Did you call Mr. Myers prior?
Are you going to apply the same standard that you do for Jim Finch now that you're a news reporter? Does that apply? So any comment that anybody makes under your whatever this is going to be is going to be negatively reflect on you. Is that what we're going to do?
Is it
you're a news reporter too, just like Big Jim Finch?
Is it your statement that you?
No, I don't answer questions.
Did you make these statements in your video in your capacity as a news reporter?
I'm a news reporter.
Okay. So we agree. So the statements in your video. Okay, that's good then.
News reporters don't answer questions, right, Lane?
Well, they need to verify some things in there to not get sued for defamation. News reporters have to.
Show me that law. Why don't you pull that law? Let me pull your stream up.
What?
Pull your stream up.
What law?
Pull up that law. Pull up the law.
That says what?
It says what you're trying to assert is some sort of legal principle. Pull it up. Show your audience.
I'm calling to give John Emerson Rietveld an opportunity to clarify his statements
You flap your little lips, Lane.
in this news report.
Stuff comes out, but no law comes out.
Now this to me, I mean, it is a little drama, guys. It is a little bit of drama going on. I know it's not all flowers and roses, right? But they're talking about law. It's important to understand where each person's coming from. And it's a little entertainment, okay? And it's not Nancy Guthrie 24/7. We're switching it up. It's a little entertainment. Try to follow it. If I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, it's not Nancy Guthrie. But King Trump, wait, it gets better though. It gets better. Don't give up on Lane.
Out, Lane. So show me the law that says that some weird magical standard is going to apply to me as a news reporter. Pull it up. I've got your YouTube video.
As an ethical news reporter,
Pull it up.
this is your opportunity to make statements on the.
We're listening to this for a little bit of entertainment too, guys. I admit it's funny. Lane is a funny dude. He's serious about his law, though. I'm not gonna, but it's funny. So we're watching it with a little bit of entertainment aspect.
The record regarding your video you posted.
Court reporter, Lane. What record? Where's the court reporter? Show me the court reporter.
You have a video you published on your channel last night.
You don't understand.
Would you like to discuss?
You don't understand, and that's why you don't get what you want when you go through all these legal processes. That's why your motions get denied.
Would you like to clarify the statements you made in your news report?
Do you understand that you don't understand words?
Would you like this opportunity? This is not Lane. This is Mr. Myers.
Oh, this is Mr. Myers.
Yes.
Do you understand that, Mr. Myers?
Yes, Mr. Myers is asking.
Why are you talking to yourself in the
Would John Emerson Rietveld,
Why are you talking about yourself in the
First Amendment journalist,
Why are you talking about yourself in the third person, retard?
would you like to clarify your statements?
Are you going to pull up the law that you were saying?
We're going to pull up a lot of things about you, but first we want to give you a chance to clarify anything.
This is totally the first time anybody's learned my name, Lane.
Oh, your name is released to you.
Triggering.
The name. This is a little John Rietveld and a little Long Island audits. This is just as me as my capacity as an ethical journalist. Before I begin the news story about you,
can I see your certificate of ethical journalism?
I would like to give you an opportunity.
Certificate for ethical journalism?
You've already clarified that the statements in the video were not made in your capacity as an attorney. Is that correct?
What do you mean in my capacity as an attorney? I wasn't representing anybody when I made those statements.
Were your statements just speculation, or were they an accumulation of your legal knowledge.
All right, everybody, just coming in. Someone's asking, what is this? A little summary. This is the page, Lane Myers. He is a pro se First Amendment guy, but he's also entertaining, and we're just taking a little break from Nancy Guthrie. Earlier we watched a First Amendment, but this is he called a lawyer. After the lawyer, this guy pictured, made a video about Lane Myers. And Lane, I just put your link in the channel. Hopefully one day Lane comes in here. I don't know. He used to come in here. Maybe, I don't know if he likes 857 or not. Who knows? I mean, I support Lane. Here's his channel for everybody. Go sub up. Tell him 857 sent you. But he is smart with his law stuff, and he called this lawyer after this lawyer made kind of a video that didn't tell the truth.
They were my opinion, Lane.
So what was your opinion is formed on what? Opinions opinions get formed.
That I've read and seen, and my thoughts.
So you've read and seen things.
Which part of the word opinion don't you understand, Lane?
I understand a lot. I'm saying so. Okay, so
you don't. It doesn't seem that way because you always lose your emotions.
You're declaring this an opinion piece, not a fact piece. Is that what journalist John Emerson Rietveld is declaring right now? This was an opinion piece, not a fact piece.
Yeah, I said you're pleading with shit.
Okay, so because nowhere in this video does it say the statements I'm about to make regarding Lane Myers are not true.
I think it should be clear that I was saying that in my opinion, your pleading was shit.
So was it your opinion what charges I was convicted of, or was it just the facts? Because you couldn't even get, the video starts with you saying that Mr. Myers was convicted of charges he wasn't even convicted of. But your video ends.
Oh, you should sue me over that.
The video ends with you referring to Jim Finch's video, in which Jim Finch at my minute and let's see, right here it says, so this 20 seconds into Jim Finch's video, which you refer to in your news video, it states factually correct information of what Mr. Myers was convicted of, right?
The probation sentence he received last year after taking a plea deal in Pima County, Arizona Superior Court.
Arizona.
Myers pled guilty to one count of felony stalking and one count of felony harassment.
Do you see what the parallels are with this Lane Myers and what they're trying to do? They try to use these same things, and they're trying to use it on us.
Count of felony
After
harassment.
an extended saga where Myers essentially
That's
stalked
what it said. That's what it says in Jim Finch's video, right? But in Merv's video, right here, what does it say in your video?
I don't know exactly.
Okay, so it looks like it looks like John Emerson Rietveld, practicing attorney, in quotes, in the State Bar of California, thinks that a news reporter giving them the benefit of the doubt and calling them prior to unleashing a news video about them is deserving of being called a retard and all this other stuff, when it's ethical journalism before you put out a story about somebody to call them and ask them and say, hey, every serious journalist does this. They contact the subject first and say, hey, I'm doing this story. I'm going to put it out whether you quote me or not, or whether you give me a quote or not. If you'd like to be quoted in the story, now is your opportunity. That's ethical journalism, okay? So, now with that being said, okay, we tried to contact a practicing member of the bar with ethical standards. We tried to make sure that Mr. Rietveld was given an opportunity to clarify if he was speaking as John Emerson Rietveld, California bar number 320086, or he was speaking as some pseudonym, pen name,
All right, everybody. All right, we are losing viewers fast. We gotta talk about Nancy Guthrie. We gotta bring her up, or people won't watch. We can't talk about anything else. It looks like unbelievable. Well, hopefully you guys learned something today. Hopefully you learned something. If not, we got to hang out a little bit, and we're gonna end this portion of this special. We didn't get any First Amendment. I'm going to try to see next one have a First Amendment, but we are going to end it with this song. If you guys want to put in American flags, but I'm going to put the link. Here's the link to Lane's channel. You can watch the full video. Shout out to Lane Myers. So we're going to just put American flags in the chat. Thank you. I'm going to go over all the supers today. Thank you, Mimi, becoming a member. Kathleen, Justice, Freedom for the Press. Mary became a member. Bobby, Dom C with the 10 gifted. Thank you. Jacqueline saying Tom is great. So are you. Here to support. Thank you with the flags. And we get Kathleen, can't cancel all of us. And that's what we're going to end today on this special show. So here we go. Carolina, mind working. Love to you all. Thank you, Carolina. Dom C, let's make the goal. And the big one, Shane, came through with big support. Thank you. We are going to build the association, the coalition. Trauma is going to bring change. Thank you, Shane. Really appreciate that big donation. And also, Dom C talking about her daughter. And we are with you. I totally relate. Melissa became a member, and Kathleen, Justice, and Dom C. 2 more to go, and it looks like we made the goal. So thank you guys as well for hitting the goal. Stay the course. So we played the song, but thank you, Rose, and also again, kindness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you so much. Fight for our rights. So put whatever you want in the chat, hearts, American flags. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign off for a little bit. I might come back later and pop in somebody else's stream or start a new stream, but I'm going to sign off for now. Hopefully you guys got a little bit of something out of this. Justice for victims, justice for Holly, justice for Nancy, and fight for our rights. So here we go. This is a little bit of Tom McDonald. I will see you guys on the next stream. Catch you later. Short and sweet. Here we go.